And bam, chapter 200 of Black Clover. We've come a long way since the early days, and we got a really nice chapter this one. I was actually in the belief, if you looked at my prediction video, I thought it was going to be more towards maybe Patri joining the fight, or not Patri, sorry, Licht, and it doesn't seem really that's how it's going to go, and honestly, with a chapter that was much more centered on emotions rather than actions or overall like large scale progression, I think it's set up a lot for the future. And what I mean by that, okay, let's just get to the chapter itself and talk about, you know, everything that went on in this. You had a really nice cover page with young Aston, you know, and I believe that that's Patriot right there. I was a little bit curious about it. I was looking in the back. You obviously can see Sister Lily. You see Licht and Raya. But just what I can make out, I assume that's Patriot. I don't have 100%. I'm 99.95% sure that's him. Tell me if it's not. But anyway, it just kind of goes off. Obviously, from the last chapter, we saw that Nozzle's magic was actually a perfect counter to Patri's. Trapped him in the Silver Star of Execution, and when the guy tried to, you know, use any of his attacks to just bounce back, and he ended up pretty much beating himself. So he didn't lose from directly any attacks from Nozzle. He lost to being outsmarted, and then to his own attacks as they got reflected back at him. And I think it wasn't just the main aspect of this chapter from, well, the main events rather, from what we got with Asta and Patriot, but also the first bit when Raya, who, it's not only a human that's saving him that's noted, it's a royal-blooded human, one of the, one of the royal families of the Clover Kingdom. We got Mimosa Vermilion, who, she definitely has that doctor mentality. You know, it doesn't really matter which side they're on. If she sees somebody that's, you know, in need of help with medical attention, she, you know, will do that. She goes over and heals them. And hopefully we can get a nice step towards the two sides coming together after this arc, because that's what they're really going to need. But then we get back to what's going on with Patriot, and Nozzle's just ready to kill him. He's ready to put him out of, put him out of really their misery with everything going on. But Austin, you know, are like, hey, we should probably wait a second, because that's actually Captain Vengeance's body, and, you know, Nozzle doesn't really get it, but obviously Asta having this, you know, I think it's what the Demon Destroyer sword comes in. He's ready to do his thing and try and work on expelling Patriot from within his body. But actually, what's really interesting that comes out, first off, the fact that more anti-magic came out of this attempt than ever before. Probably, I'm wondering actually rather if it has to do with the fact of how powerful Patri is, and obviously the fact that he is a dark elf, you know, in comparison to just the normal elves who have kind of dropped closer to that disparity level. Or the fact that Asta, you know, he just kind of advanced his progress with his Grimoire recently. You know, we saw a little bit more of his form come out. I don't think I need to really go over that. We all saw it. We all saw it. Like, you know, you can look at comparison to how it was earlier in that same chapter. But you just have Asta going through all the memories. You're seeing things of Patri, and not only just like happy times when he was with the elves, but also the horrible moment when he saw all the royals, you know, helping aid in the genocide of the elves, the moments where he thought everything was going to get better, the moments when he killed Julius to, you know, this demon who pretty much brought out how what he was doing was not actually for the elves, it was really just for him, and just so he could get a body, and just that horrible crippling feeling that everything you thought that you were doing for a good cause, and, you know, you thought you were getting all this comeuppance towards the humans, but also bring back the elves, revive your people. But everything that they've been doing has actually just been puppeteered, orchestrated, just trailed along by this demon, who we still haven't got the name, by the way. But it's just completely crushing to him to know that he doesn't know really anything anymore. Are the humans the bad guys? Are they the bad guys? What exactly is he, what else is he wrong about? And you can even see, like, even William's soul just in his body, he's just not sure what to do about it. He's just so confused. And I thought that was a really interesting aspect to this, just because seeing more of what's inside their mind versus something like when we saw Ratchery with him and Finral. We only really saw the side with Langris, and we saw what he was, but we didn't see really what the mental state of the elf itself when they were in that darker, more well set in depravity moments. But Asta kind of comes up on him and starts talking about how it doesn't really matter if he's done all these bad things that he can't undo, and all these darker aspects to him. And I think Asta, obviously, after seeing his memories, understands he didn't do it to be a bad guy. He did it because he was trying to help his people. And not only that, while doing it, he thought he was taking out his enemies, but he just wanted to bring his people back above all else. And Asta, I think, is really... I think he was really able to take note of that instead of just coming at it from his raw emotions, because you can tell how mad he is just by the looks on his face. And then right when he gets within range of Patriot, he just grabs him by the collar and he says, how dare you kill the Magic Emperor? Yeah, we all admire him. He was such a good guy. We loved him. He was just a man of the people. And you can tell that is just all that completely like backed up anger Astus had since finding out about it. I mean, it's not been a long time, but that he's been an idol to him, and not just Julius as a person, but just the idea of the Wizard King itself. So it really kind of strikes as that double blow over of, not only is it the Wizard King, the guy that Astus looked up to his whole life, who he aspires to become, but Julius in general just was an all around, just a real people guy. And I think a lot of that, it's gonna have a lot of impact on the kingdom after this. But Asta kind of goes with him, and he's talking about how even if he's pretty much just like, even if you're a piece of shit, you weren't special, you weren't meant to do this big thing you think you were doing. You can't just throw it all away, because then everything you did was for nothing. And I think how I see it is he talks about how he Asta, I think, believes how he was only doing it to protect his people and to bring his people back. And Asta still wants him to do it, but he can't just give up here, because if they don't join up against this demon, then they're all going to lose. And there's nothing really going to come out of it. But he just kind of like thinks back, like when he talked about what he wanted to do when he became Wizard King, Magic Emperor, whichever one you go by, that he wanted to make a country where everyone could, live together, accept each other, laugh, and just have a good time, regardless of, your wealth level or the class system. And it just kind of rocked Patriot, like, down to his core. It was just that kind of moment where he really realized that it doesn't really matter if he's done all this bad stuff. He still can kind of atone for it and try and right the things that he's messed up, but also to keep moving forward. Don't just cast aside what he's been doing, and to follow through with that. And especially when you could hopefully redirect that original pathway into one more positive, taking down this demon. And what I talked about, I think this is really important, is after this arc, I think there's going to be a lot of interesting points between the humans and the elves, and how they can put their past aside, and especially the events of this arc, and try and get along, try and have a better relationship. Because not only is there this demon, we don't know what else is to come. We don't know about the other kingdoms. We don't know about other angry magical race species. I mean, we only other have demons and dwarves, but who knows what else is out there that they haven't even become aware of yet. But obviously the thing at hand is this demon, and the humans can't beat them by themselves. They're going to need everyone to go against them, and everyone to hopefully prevent him to get that real body, because I'm genuinely curious of what his actual power is like, if what he's been doing is only at a fraction, as he's able to take an empowered anti-magic form Asta and Spirit Dive elf buffed at the same time, and just being like, well, not a big deal, I'll just heal my wounds, and by saying heal and then just be off on my merry way. But anyway, this was not only a good setup for the future between the humans and the elves, but in general a really good moment for Asta. It really, I think this is one of those moments that's going to kind of beat back of when he does become Wizard King, of just trying to get on an emotional understanding with his enemy, whether or not he thinks it's he can forgive them, or depending on or what they did, but just kind of like see it from their side, see what exactly is going on at their level. And here we can see Asta just, again, he knows that the guy's hurting. He understands the whole idea of not being special, not being some chosen big person, but he can't give up and he can't stop. He's got to keep. He's got to follow through, as I said. And hopefully, as I talked about, I predicted that they can team up. And now that they have Patri, and they also probably have Raya, so they're gonna have two big shots of the elves, and hopefully be able to corral any of the ones still standing to go against this demon and hopefully take him down, or at least repel him back. I don't think they'll beat him for good, but probably repel him. There's a lot to come. There's a whole lot to come, and I think that this chapter really helped lay out a lot for the future. A lot of foundation for once we see, a couple of years from now within the story of what, a more adult Asta is going to be like, and how this scene is going to be a really big takeaway of just that kind of, as I said, get on the level with your enemy. Even if you don't like them, you can't forgive what they've done. They've done some atrocious things. You can try, and you just still got to keep. You got to follow and finish. You got to go all the way. And even if it's bad, you can't really just throw away all the aspects sacrificed and used up along the way. And I think that kind of idea is very, very interesting for Asta to put out on him, because even though you can tell he's trying to go for this this kind of idea and mindset, like I said, of how it was all for the elves. That was what Patri wanted. It was all for the elves, so he still needs to try and do that. He can't just give up on them. But what he needs to realize is what's good for the elves is that they take this demon down and don't let him just kind of get what other further nefarious plans he's got going on in the back. So it was really nice with Asta, and I did like that kind of like callback with him and the first Wizard King from Patri. I'm still hoping they're not related in any way. I don't want Asta to be any like descendant of amazingness. I like that he's just some guy that was dealt a bad hand and kept up with it until he got his anti-magic grimoire and just kept trying along the way and getting better. So other than that, tell me what you think about this chapter. Obviously, there's a little bit extra at the end with Patri having kind of this one dark eye and one normal eye, and I think that might lead into the future. Something pretty interesting. Maybe that there will be kind of like in betweens, like maybe like I guess it'd be a gray elf at that point of balance of both a normal elf and a dark elf. Just that kind of state of mind, that center of depravity, but having conquered it. And there's a lot I think a lot more to take away from that as well, that we'll probably see further in the future. But other than that, like I said, drop a comment below in the comment section what you thought about this chapter. Fun seeing chapter 200. I was expecting more of like a big spread of a bunch of characters, but actually I really like the young Asta and and I believe that's Patri, and just what it kind of says of at the end of it, they're children with dreams, and even if those dreams kind of can lead down a darker path, hopefully they can end in a much more safe, much brighter place. Other than that, I'd really appreciate it if you would thumbs up the video, befriend the like button and the subscribe button, and check out my other videos. But other than that, I appreciate everyone who's already subscribed, and I thank y'all for listening. Bye.